Welcome back, everyone, to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan here. For today, what can I say? We have on the show, first of all, what better way to have an incredible, super badass Thursday? Because we have on the show the incredible, amazing, the badass, the superstar, the legendary, the one and only Cameron. Cameron, how are you today, man?
I'm good, yeah. How about you? How you doing?
Fantastic. What better way to have an incredible, super Thursday than to be chatting with someone as badass as you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Now, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow, helps a lot. But also, on the description below, you're going to find a lot of Cameron on social media. Let's follow him, and let's discover why he's super badass. Now, without further more, let's jump in. So I want to start this whole conversation by throwing out, the first question, which is, what initially drew you to acting in the first place? Was there like a specific moment or perhaps experience that made you realize, you know what, this is going to be my passion from now on?
So, I've got a bit of a weird story coming up for that. So I'd always wanted to do it as a kid, and I'm going to be completely open and honest about everything. But when I was really young, I played rugby at school. So when I was like 9-10 years old, and I broke my nose probably I think I've bust my nose like 33 times in my life. And so my nose was like all swollen, like puffed up and stuff for years. And I kept putting it off and off and off and off for years and years. And then I went to Concordia University. I actually studied animation and film. So in 2016, and as I said, I'd always wanted to pursue acting in some degree, whether it's theatre or whatever. And the opportunity arose there. So, for example, as part of the course, the animation department recommends that you take this acting class. It's like the fundamentals of acting, and it was part of the theatre program at Concordia. And they offered this 3-week summer intensive, and it was 6 credits in 3 weeks. And I thought, well, this is amazing. I'm going to do it. And I pitched up. And the reason why they ask you to do it, by the way, is because with animation, you need to understand how lip syncing works and like just the physicality of movements and such. And so I went along, and I started. I did the 3 weeks, and it went superbly well. The teachers were recommending that I audition for the theatre program at Concordia, and I was like, what is going on here? And I just felt like I found myself, and I loved it. Loved every single bit of it. And just that lack of confidence that I'd had because I bust my nose so many times dispersed because I realized it didn't mean anything. And I met some really cool people. It was very collaborative, and I just thought, yeah, this is something I want to do. So I started to slowly integrate myself more into theatre. I actually ended up doing a theatre minor the following year as a result. So, and that's how I got into it. So yeah, it was very cool.
There you go. It's so cool how sometimes life will be guiding you to the right path if you kind of understand kind of the signs that happen around. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I'm a big firm believer that the universe is it's probably a living being or something and points you in the right direction. So
totally. Yeah, perhaps sometimes they will put you in a position in which you're like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? But eventually things started to kind of make sense a little bit, and then later on you start to discover and be like, oh, I kind of get it now. I was meant to be in this position in order to understand this thing, to become this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I think the only thing that I was apprehensive about was my age, because I started acting like I was 27 at the time. So I was just worried that I'd be too old to pursue it or something. I mean, and then obviously now that I'm doing it, I realize that's a load of nonsense. You can do whatever you want in life at any age. But at the time, I wasn't sure. So
totally. And as an actor, you often have to inhabit the lives of various characters. So how do you approach stepping into a new role? And let's say, what are some of the techniques that you use to make the character to feel authentic as possible?
So essentially, I'll get the script for the role. So I'll run you through. I played a character called Teddy Platt in a play during the summer. So it was in June, and the play was called The House and the Garden. It was by I think it was Alan Aykroyd or Dan Aykroyd. It was anyway. He's a famous playwright from the UK, and it was my first ever play that I'd ever been in. I hadn't even done one in school. and it went very, very well. But what I did was I took the script and I basically I was told that I had free range to do whatever I wanted with it by the director. His name was Aaron Coates, and so I took the script and I would literally like I'm quite intense, but I'll walk around my house. And I'm not kidding for like 8 to 12 hours, just going over and over the lines. But I like to physicalize it, so it's how I learn. And so I was walking around because I'm also dyslexic, so it's just how I do it. But I like to physicalize what I'm doing, and I kind of just started to feel this kind of. It was a bit like Ace Ventura. To be honest, it was like Jim Carrey playing this English character called Teddy Platt, and it was I was I had a lot of facial expressions, and just my physicality was very so almost over the top, which is what I was going for. But yeah, like I tend to take a script and I'll just walk around wherever space I'm in, and I'll just keep going over it and over it, and I just sort of feel what's going on. I also draw a lot of inspiration just from my own life. So when I'm reading the script, like I might remember something my brother did, for instance, when I was like 15, 16. So um, actually, I'm playing right now. I'm doing a short film where I'm playing an Irish gangster, and so I always remember something my brother used to do when I was. He's 5.5 years older than me, and if he wanted to intimidate somebody, he'd get right in their face, and he'd have like he wouldn't blink. He'd stare at them almost like a psychopath, and I'd be like, "Well, that's creepy." So, but I'll steal that. I'll steal that. So I literally did that for this Irish gangster, and yeah, that's what I do. I just draw from things in my own life and just mimic things that I see from my friends and family. And it might even be something you do, like the way you hold your cigarette or something. I'll just go, oh, that's interesting. I'll take it. So yeah, that's tends to be what I do. So I walk a lot, get my steps in, and steal from other people. It's the best
There
way
you
to
go.
do it.
Totally. I mean, that's the way. And what I find amazing is that whenever, yeah, like whenever an actor is has like achieved that thing in which they make it super relatable, and whenever you're watching it you kind of have like that connection to it, you know what I mean, even though that it's fiction, right, and you know that it's not real, and like and all of that, but something about that character suddenly clicks with you and resonates with your life, perhaps for a past experience or something. And I find that amazing when that connection is created between the one who is watching and the one who is presenting the uh the uh the character. And then from like from there, like whenever something will happen to that character, you will actually feel real emotions, like it's so cool that knowing that that your brain knows that it's not real, but your
Yeah.
emotions are just there. And then you will see people, I don't know, when you go to the theater or things like that, and whenever something happened to a character, people might cry to it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, like whenever those emotions happen, I find that amazing. Like, and also it teaches us somehow how important for us is that, like that connection to it. It's yeah, it's amazing. I do think that it's because of that perhaps we will get inspired to do something, or we will steal things steal things from there in order to become better in our craft. For example, that you will see different things from different actors or from different things, and then you will be okay. I'm gonna apply this, and that, which is cool because it also shows at the same time that as an actor, there is no kind of a specific manual on how to do things, right? I mean, at the end,
That's it. Yeah.
it's your thing, and sure, you can take pieces from everyone, but at the end, has to be your thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think as an actor, you've got to be incredibly observant. That's like a key skill. But I think you're totally right. There'll be loads of people who will, I suspect, read a book and they think that because they've read the book, they think that what the information that's held within those pages, that's how it has to be done. But the truth is that there's no there's no actual correct way of doing it. It's just whatever feels right for you. And it might change. Like I'll be honest, um, for every role that I've done, it changes each time, and I don't get too rigid with it. I like to mix it up and just as long as do you know what the most important thing is? To have fun. If you enjoy learning your lines and you make it fun, like sometimes I'll listen to music, sometimes I'll learn my lines for like an hour a bit, walk away. Sometimes I do it and it's like I did like with the Irish accent. That's how that came up. And you mix it up and you just have fun with it, and then you just play. That's it. Just have fun. Don't be too harsh on yourself, and don't become too rigid. Just mix it up, and yeah, you'll be
Totally,
fine.
totally. And tell me, now that you mentioned music, what are some of the yeah, like what are some of the play of the songs you usually listen, or like what is your yeah, like what kind of artists you usually listen when you're about to play a character? Like what is your thing?
Well, so for example, the film that I'm currently it's just a little short film. But I play this Irish gangster, and the my co-partner, he's from the Bronx, and basically the idea is the premise of it is um, we're driving this T-Bird from the 1970s, this Thunderbird car. And by the way, that is a nightmare having to drive one of those. I nearly crashed the thing, but anyway, um, the idea was that he's about to get killed off. He doesn't know it, but I'm about to kill him off and then bury him in the forest because he's a bit of a what's the words a liability. And so what I do is I'll go into YouTube and I'll type in 1970s gangster music or something. I'd be very generic, right? But to be honest, I'll listen to I don't know why, but the American Beauty theme song. I don't know if you know the one, the soundtrack. It's got Kevin Spacey in it, and it's the one where there's like a bag, and there's like an extended 30-minute to like an hour long like take of that song, and it's just very it's almost like what's his name? Is it Thomas Newman, the music composer? And I like these very simplistic, sort of like very cinematic sounds. I don't know why, but it's not overly jarring in my head. And then, but I'll listen to that. I'll listen to gangster music. I listen to a lot of jazz to get into it. Even with every role, doesn't matter what the role is, it just gets me into the feel. And I think it's just because I like it and it's fun. Um, and it sounds cheesy, but like on my own, I'll literally feel like I'm in the film and I'm playing that character. And I'll start like improving lines that have and scenes that are not in the film, but it just gets me into the place. I just try and have fun with it, but um, nothing with lyrics or anything like that. Um, and then what I will tend to do is so I'll listen to music whilst I'm doing it. Sometimes I'll turn it off deliberately because I find sometimes then I become too used to the music and then I'm like, it sort of changes the mood for me. I think that's why I like listening to music. It creates an atmosphere. Um, and then I'll step away, and then sometimes I'll just go and listen to actual music and not do my lines, just to have a break from it. And I'll listen to my favorite band, Oasis, and that's it. So
There you go. I like it. That's pretty cool. And you know, acting can be emotionally demanding, right? So how do you maintain a balance between fully immersing yourself in a role and at the same time taking care of your emotional well-being?
so I'm going to be brutally honest. um, I don't do a good job of that just yet, but it's tough. It's tough. Like I find that depending on like with that play that I did, the first play I'd ever done during the summer, it took a lot of emotion out of me. Like I said, I was doing like I think that's one of the downfalls of doing like 8 to like 10 hours of walking around. Like it takes a lot of your energy. But it is something that I need to work on. It's I don't know. It's just it's like I don't how do I put it? I don't get I'm not like a method actor where I stay in the role the whole week. And so when my family's sitting there at the dinner table, they heard an Irish accent, like, what are you looking at? I'm not doing that to them, but it's more of a I think it's just you have to like give a piece of yourself to everything you do. And I think do you know what the real reason is? I think it's because I'm ultra critical of myself. I imagine a lot of creative types, whether they're painters, sculptors, musicians, actors, whatever, um, they're very critical of themselves. And I actually think a lot of the energy that they disperse is actually into the, am I doing it right? Does this feel right? Oh, what if everybody thinks this, blah, blah, blah. So that's the thing I need to work on. I think it's just about learning to let go. Basically, you do the performance, you put the best effort you can in, and you let it go, and that's it. And it's up to the acting gods, whether it goes well or not, I guess. But I think that for me is my biggest problem is just separating my own performances, like, and just realizing that it's just the best I can do. And I suppose that everybody goes through that. It's a roundabout way of answering it, but there you go.
Mm.
So
I mean, it's it's challenging somehow, but I mean, as you were saying before, if you're able, at the end, it's important for you to have fun to it, and I mean, at the end, everyone has like their own thing, for all of the actors that I have interviewed, some of them they do go method, but from what I can remember, most of them they're not, they will just go do the character, present it, getting basically do the job. Once they're done, go back home, return to be the real you. Some of them will do creative things that, for example, they will be writing a letter to the character to kind of say goodbye to it, things
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But at the end, everybody has like their own thing, which I find it pretty cool. So
Mhm, mhm.
totally. And tell me, if you could play any historical figure or even a fictional character, who or what would it be and why?
It's got to be the one guy that I'd love to play is Liam Gallagher from the band Oasis. I
Okay.
don't know if you're familiar. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
totally.
the reason is that guy. I mean, I love him to bits. He's just pure mayhem, and I think that'd be fascinating. There's the relationship between Liam and Noel. But just I think he's such a fascinating character. Like he's the true definition of a rock and roll star. He doesn't change. Like when he's in the garden, he's a rock and roll star. That is just him. I love what like how how much integrity he has, how authentic he is. He doesn't fake it up. He tells you as it is, and I think that that kind of character is rare today. Like a lot of people in the public eye, um, I think a lot of people just sort of they don't say how they feel, they don't say how they are, what they really think, and I think there's also people love people who sort of say it as it is, like I said, and just and he's such a polarizing character. You either love him or you hate him. I think that'd be just amazing. Yeah, just to embody him, just to just I think he's lived a fascinating life compared to most people, I just love that. Yeah. So for me, it'd have to be Liam Gallagher.
There you go. Sounds good to me.
Yep.
Yeah, they're actually planning to have like a concert or like something like that, right?
The
I mean,
well,
I haven't.
there's a reunion tour. So it's next September. So 2025, and I think like I was what I was in my I think I just left school. We don't call it graduation. I think they call it graduation in North America, but we call it leaving school. And it was like in 2008, 2009. Um, and then they've just come back after like what 13, 14, 15 years, something like that. But yeah, no, I love that band a lot. I know everything about them, and it'd be an honor just to play that role. So for me, as a massive Oasis fan, I'd have to be playing Liam Gallagher. Be amazing.
Okay, sounds. I mean, who knows, right? I mean, at this point, I think every musician is kind of doing like their origins film. I think that Robin Williams is planning like to release one. I think in the next few months,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Queen released one as well. With Bohemian Rhapsody. So who knows, right? That would be
yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also just because he's such an iconic figure. It's just, I mean, even playing Noel Gallagher would be amazing. I think it's just because they've had such I think it's just all the chaos. It's like, do you know what it's like? It's like, I think he described them. Liam Gallagher described Oasis as, they're like a Lamborghini of Ferrari, where they're great to drive, they're great to look at, but every so often the wheels come off, and that's why it's so fascinating. That's that is Liam Gallagher, and that's why people want it. Would I think it'd be a fascinating character to play. So yeah,
Totally, totally. And I think also from the interviews that I have seen that he's a pretty down to earth guy. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of he knows, that's super humble. He stays true to it, which I find it pretty cool. And I think that's kind of the key on things. That just be the real you. If people like it, cool. People don't like it, cool as well. Because
yeah,
I mean, I do think that if you portray this fake image, in order to kind of like everyone or to sell your image or whatever, at some point you are gonna hate it because it's not the real you. And sometimes
That's
we can
probably,
see it,
yeah.
with celebrities as well, that this image they are portraying is not real. And whenever they find them on their, on the street or things like that, they just switch to different person. And I think that is when you discover that they're not real to it, that they're just portraying this facade to the media, but then in their personal life they're totally different, in which I do think that it should be the other way around. You should be honest to yourself, like the 100% every day, and if people support it, cool. If people don't support it, just the way it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And actors often have to adapt to different, genres and style of performance. So is there a particular genre or style that you haven't portrayed yet? But you would love to explore that anytime in the near future.
Um, I think to be honest, I've been kind of like I've done a lot of things. I'd like to do more comedy. Um, I want to say that I haven't done comedy on film. I mean, I was mentioning earlier, I love, and I mean, I love Jim Carrey. I love Ace Ventura, Mike Myers from like Austin Powers. I love that kind of style, just ridiculousness. It's almost like Airplane, the movie Airplane 1 and 2. I don't know if you've seen them. Great movies. But I'd love to play a over the top, just almost like slapstick humor. And the other thing is, like, I'll be honest, you don't see much of it these days. Not as much as you used to. I think the '90s we were fortunate in that it was so prevalent back then. But then, yeah, these days it's humor's like the way that comedies are written. It's totally different. Like Seth Rogen and those guys have come in, and it's just a totally different style of humor. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I think it's just because it's like nostalgic. I just miss that style of absurd. It's absurd humor, and I love it. And
Mm.
that's I'd love to play that type of thing. And like as an actor, like I've always done like impersonations and stuff. So I love doing like impersonations of like celebrities like Morgan Freeman and people like that. And so I think it's just because that would allow me to create a ridiculous character who plays off the type of things that I like to do as a when I play as an actor. So yeah, I'd like to do like an absurd humor that's just completely out there and just causes mayhem. Anything that causes mayhem, I'm signing up for. That's basically it. So
Totally,
that's
totally.
basically yeah.
Do you think that perhaps with comedy, specifically, maybe we don't have them as before because due to the whole cancel cancel culture, that
Yeah.
perhaps studios and things like that they might don't want to take the risk of getting canceled, or things like that. As back then, we will have yeah, we will have like a lot of a lot of dark comedies, or or a lot of things like that, as now that
Well, it's
it's
like
kind of a little bit difficult.
or it's like Ace Ventura, the first film. You couldn't make that these days because there's the villain in that turns out to be a transgender person, and unfortunately, if you brought that out today, that would be banned immediately. They'd cancel that right off the bat. But the thing is, I mean, the way I look at it, maybe it's just because I'm Scottish, but for instance, if somebody comes up to me and starts saying, "Oh, you guys wear skirts or whatever," we wear a kilt. I don't care. I think the thing is that these days you gotta be able to have a laugh at yourself and not take yourself too seriously. And that goes back to Liam Gallagher. It's that you either take me or you leave me. And yeah, I'd rather see films that are truthful. And like, isn't that the point of art? And acting such as to sort of push the boundaries and like controversy is good, man. That's how I look at it. I think these days, like I don't buy into the whole cancel culture and this PC stuff. That's just me.
Mm.
I'd prefer if people just made good films instead of trying to cater to some silly agenda. But that's me.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally. Did you ever watch the Chappelle Show?
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
You can't do
No.
on this day and age that would be impossible to do. But I do think that I find it a little bit of that sometimes they go like too far, or things like that. I remember a couple of years ago they did this. I mean, did you ever watch this show Top Gear? The ones with the cars and
Oh yeah,
everything.
yeah, with Jeremy Clarkson and
Oh,
that. Yeah,
I mean that was my show back when I was little. But
yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
um, so at some point, they did an episode in which Mexico released a car, right?
Mhm.
And they were saying like, oh, the tortilla car, things like that.
Of
They were saying like, they were like making fun of it,
course,
and
yeah.
and then they were saying like, and they were saying things like, but you know what? Probably nobody. Like probably like the Mexican ambassador here is not gonna watch it. Probably he's already sleeping, things like that,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that was fun, because you knew I mean, I knew the show, and I knew that they will always do that with every same car. Either if it was a German one, American one, Canadian, French, whatever, they will go, that was their style, But here, they made a mess of it. I mean, I remember that people were offended to it and things like that, and I was like, dude, come on, it's just comedy, And I do think
yeah.
that I saw this interview once with this comedian in which they were saying like, the more you're able to laugh, yeah, like the more you're able to laugh about yourself, the more free you will become, And it's a shame that on this day and age you can't say certain things or things like that, because you will be afraid of that, and also at the end it's art. At the end it's entertainment. And it's not like a political speech. I do think that sometimes people take it way too serious.
Yeah.
At the end it's just comedy. It's just to have fun. It's no, I mean, at the end that's how it is. It's not being personal or nothing to take it too serious. Just to have a laugh of it. And if you can laugh about yourself or about your culture, sure. And specifically if they come out of a place that is that they don't mean any harm to it.
That's the point. I mean, it's in the UK we have very self-deprecating humor, and that's just how but we don't take it personally. So somebody, we don't go right. Well, that person's this. He's an asshole because he said that type of thing. Um, I think it's just one of those things where like people need to lighten up and stop taking themselves seriously. And it's like I don't know. I just think it's. I hope a time does come along where people can just ease up film. Like I do think that this is just my personal opinion. I do think like even with music and film and such, like I don't think things are as interesting as they used to be. And I think it's because people feel restricted in what they can do. They're so scared of offending the masses, which I don't think they are. I think the silent majority of people probably feel the same way as we do, where we're just like, we don't take offense by it, and it is what it is. Um, but yeah, you just got to, unfortunately, you just got to be so careful in case you offend the wrong person. You're scared of getting cancelled and that. And like I said, I always admire people who speak how they feel, who actually just say, "Well, no, I reject that. I'm not going to be told what to do," and they go out and make it anyway. As long as you're not harming anybody, like actually physically and verbally, then I don't see the problem. But it's like all the comedians, like Bill Burr, Dave Chappelle. I think they've all been cancelled, and yet they come back again. They're always get every time they bring out a Netflix special, they're always getting cancelled. But like, I don't know. It's unfortunate, but hopefully that changes soon.
Yeah, it's just crazy because as I say here, I mean, it's just entertainment, it's just the way it is. For example, if they release, I don't know, if they in yeah, if they release a film or sometimes in which they will make fun about, they will throw jokes about the Mexican culture, yeah, I will laugh at it because sometimes some of those things might be true, and then you're like, that's totally cool, that's totally fun, and it's a shame that people don't take that some people don't take it that way, and they will become like more apprehensive to things and everything. And yeah, I mean, I do hope at some point we are kind of able to kind of understand that at the end, hey, it's not to become, I mean, it's not to offend anybody. It's just to
Of
have a laugh of it. I mean, of course that there will be films or TV shows that they will go that the way to approach things might be a little bit more serious, which is fine. But yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm just kind of a little bit too tired of that. When I see like a film or things like that got like a massive hate of people, and now they want to cancel it. And I'm like, dude, it's just a film. It's not. nothing too serious. I do think that sometimes we just forget what actually serious things might be, you know? Perhaps our lives are incredibly amazing, and with something so vain as a film talk about about like a specific topic, you might get offended, which at the end, it's not personal. It's not meant to target you specifically, it's just for the fun of it. So yeah,
Yeah.
totally, totally. And tell me, if your life was turned into a movie, which actor would you want to play you?
Oh, so, ooh. I do like Tom Hardy. Um, Tom Hardy, and there's a few reasons, there's a multitude of reasons. One, so I went to a private school, a posh school in Scotland in Edinburgh. I know he went to a posh school, so he would understand the sort of culture about going to. I went to an all boys school as well. I don't know if he did, but there's a certain um, elitism about going to a private school that I think he would understand, um, and the ethos behind these types of schools. So I think he would actually, unfortunately, not unless you've gone to a private school in the UK, you wouldn't understand it. So like when I talk to Canadians, that it means nothing to them, which is a good thing. It just goes over their heads. But in the UK, like I think it's just because culturally, the whereas like race is a big thing in North America, social status, like you're either a chav or you're rich, basically in the UK. That's the difference. And so I think you'd understand what that's all about. Like I personally don't care where you're from or whatever, and I'm not just saying that. I mean that, but I think you'd get that. So if he did play me him, and also he's the same height as me. He's 5'7", so he's a short king, and and I don't know. I think he's what's the word? He I think he knows a bit of chaos. Like my early years were a bit chaotic, and so I think he'd understand. Um, he's got some darkness. He's a tortured soul, and I like that. So he lives close to the bone, as they say. So I'd say Tom Hardy, and I think he's just a tremendous actor. It's like he did Bronson. I don't know if you've seen that film Bronson, where he plays it's the most notorious prisoner in British history, most dangerous man. Oh, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's a brilliant film. It's called Bronson, and he really embodied him. So he bulked up, shaved his hair off, and he literally became the character. He like picked up his mannerisms. He had the voice down. It's one of my favorite films of all time, and yeah, I think he would just embody me. He's the type of guy that it'd be weird to watch myself being played by him because it probably look like he'd do such a good job. He probably sounds somewhat like me and all that. So I'd go with Tom Hardy. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, he's a cool actor. Yeah, he's a cool guy. Totally. When I saw him, I didn't I didn't know. For example, one of my favorite TV shows of all time, it's Band of Brothers. By far, it's on my top, right?
yeah,
And then I mean I will watch it every now and then, because yeah. So the other day I was watching it a few years ago, and then I saw this guy and I was like, wait a second. So I just put pause and I was like, that's Tom Hardy. I
yeah,
actually I didn't know that he was actually in Band of Brothers, and then I realized so many actors that we see them now, they were back then, but they look totally young, so that was
yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah, yeah.
That's so cool.
What's like look what he did for Bane. He created that,
That was
that
that was the
that
best of it.
voice. It was
Yeah.
amazing. And
Yeah, that
so,
was that was the best of it. And then you will see him also in Peaky Blinders, incredible
oh God,
character,
I know. Yeah.
Alfie. That was an incredible. I mean, when I saw him, I was like, "This is this is the right guy to it." I love it. And like what I do, like he can totally, yeah, like he can totally portray any character. Which I find it pretty cool. Either if it is like a little bit bulked up or thin or whatever, he's able to switch, to switch things up to
Which
portray that. It looks pretty cool.
he probably made me look cooler than I actually am. That's why I want him to play me.
Totally, totally. And acting often involves like a lot of vulnerability and putting yourself out there. So how do you handle criticism and rejection in such, a competitive industry?
I mean, I think I don't know. It's just one of those things where uh, I mean, I would say that, yeah, I would admit that I'm a sensitive soul. So I do take things to heart, unfortunately. And I think you'll find most actors are like that. Um, Unless they're full blown narcissists. I don't know. But like, the truth is that it's just one of those things that one of the things I learned recently was I was very, very, very fortunate to do a Q&A with a casting director called Rhonda Fazinski here in Canada in Calgary. And one of the questions that she was asked was about being rejected and such. And she said, and it's so true, it's kind of like you throw spaghetti up against the wall, and eventually one of the spaghetti strands is going to stick. And she said to me this thing that was really interesting was basically the role that you do eventually land is the right one for you. And so so basically everything else is just it's just not right for you. Like I'm not going to be able to play I wouldn't be able to play Eminem in a movie probably because I'm not. I mean, although I like rap, it's just not who I am, and so I totally accept that. Um, I'm not going to be able to play, Justin Trudeau because I'm not like him. But there'll be a role that fits me. Like I don't know, they might ask me to play a soccer player or something, or Liam Gallagher, and I'll be like, that's the one. This is it. So I think it's just one of these things where you don't take it personally. It's a bit like being rejected by a girl. The way I look at it is, if a girl rejects you, it's just like, cool, thanks for for letting me know we weren't compatible. You didn't waste my time. I didn't waste your time. Let's keep going. It's the same with acting. It's like being rejected by a girl. Just you just got to keep rolling with it, and eventually something that is right for you, you will land. And so when you do perform it, it's going to feel good. Like I've only just started audition. I got an agent recently, and I just started auditioning, and I've put myself forward for loads of commercials, and I won't lie, I do put a lot of effort in, and some of my commercial, like for example, or the auditions I did for this JonBenet Ramsey documentary that's out here right now. I thought I did a really good job, and I was actually told by the casting director I did a good job, but I just wasn't quite right because I didn't look like the real life characters in the documentary, or I wasn't quite right for the commercial because they had an image, and that's totally fine. It just is what it is, and it's a bit like music, I suppose. Like if you're gonna release an album, you got to accept that not everybody's gonna like what you do. You either like it or you don't, and that's it. It's as simple. So just don't take things personally. And as I said, just like I said earlier, just have fun whenever you're doing anything. I see it as an opportunity as well when you do an audition to showcase what you can do. Because a director or a casting director, sorry, even if you're not right for that audition, if you do a good job, they're going to remember you for something in the future. So it might, and that was what this lady also said. This Rhonda lady, she said that she keeps in mind people who have done a strong audition in a totally different show. She'll go, I know what they can do, and then when the right role comes along, they're going to ask you to audition for it, and you never know, you might get it. But the other thing is, it's like you hear about people go, "Oh, I got two lines on Heartland or The Abandons or some TV show," and it's and you should be pleased for them. The way I look at it is just kind of don't compare yourself, never compare yourself. Don't get critical of yourself because at the end of the day, you will eventually find a role for you that suits you. So yeah, that's how I look at it anyway.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the most healthier way to see things, that it wasn't just meant to be, and that's just part of the whole experience to it. Otherwise, if you try to force things, they're probably, I mean, they're gonna look horrible, and at the
That's
end, it's
what I
not
mean.
you. So yeah, it's actually good. Yeah, yeah, I like it. I like it. And
It's
let's
like,
say,
oh,
hmm?
sorry. It's
No,
kind
no,
of well,
no. What?
it's kind of like they're protecting you. They're looking out for you as well because they go in. You because like you just said, imagine if I landed the role of Ken in Barbie, I might not be right for that, but they realize that. But if I were to have landed the role, even though I'm not right for it, and I performed it, one, it could ruin my career because I'd look like a terrible actor. So in some ways, it's kind of like they're the gatekeeper and they're protecting you. Like it's not quite ready for you. You're not ready just yet, not for this role. So that's how I look at it. They're looking out for you as well. There's a
Totally.
different way. So
Yeah, and that's the way. Yeah, and as I was saying, I think that's the most healthiest way possible because things. wasn't just meant to be at that point, and one day might will. You just need to take your time to it and keep working on your own, and then eventually, I do think that when you don't push things, eventually they will come. It's like somehow you're attracting them,
Mhm.
and at the same time you don't look like very needy. We don't like we don't like
Nobody
needy,
likes desperation. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? It's horrible when you were desperate. So yeah, the best idea, and I think in life in general is just to, take it as take it take it lightly. If things were meant to be, that's fine. Keep working on your own. Be grateful from what you have, and perhaps with that you can um, become better somehow. And then eventually that thing you are dreaming about might come, or perhaps might not come as you wanted. But it's all about perspective, and be humble, and yeah,
Well, it's like, for example, like you're not entitled to anything. I mean, the way I look at it is just like I'm going to put somebody on blast, but have you watched like the Ariana Grande interviews for Wicked recently? Have you seen
yeah,
them?
yeah, yeah,
It's just horrific. Um, it's so bad you have to see it type of thing. But that's what I mean. It's like some people probably go into acting thinking that they want to be that that well known and what have you. And it's like, well, at that stage, are you doing it for the right reason? Are you doing it for the craft, or are you doing it for fame and attention? Like, what's the drill here? And for me, it's like I personally don't think I'd want to be of that magnitude. And it's like it doesn't equate to talent. It doesn't equate to anything. It's just at that like look how fake they've become, and that's it. They've lost all sense in themselves, and it's all of them, these celebrities and stuff. And so like I don't know. I think I mean personally, I'd be really proud if I just had a couple of lines on Heartland or something. I'd be over the moon with that. That'd be amazing. So I think it's just down to what are your expectations when you're going into this, like what is it you really want to get out of this? And for me, if I can just have some fun, do some plays, have the occasional line on here or there. Obviously, if I could land a bigger role, that'd be amazing. But you just you know you don't get to pick, and you're not entitled to anything. So that's why you just got to pull it back and say, am I having fun? And so long as you're having fun and you're not in it for the wrong reasons, then you're going to be all right.
totally,
So
totally, yeah, I like it. And that what motivates you. We all have those days that basically we just want to quit, right? It's inevitable, happens to all of us. So what keeps you motivated? On those days that perhaps, yeah, you're not doing so hot, let's say.
uh so at the moment, I'd say it's my girlfriend Kat. She's always pushing me whenever I'm like, oh, I don't, I can't be bothered anymore. She's like, get up, get out of bed, put your jeans on, and get on with it. And so it's like, okay, tough love. Um, so she keeps me going. And then what else would I say? I think it's just one of those like honestly, there's probably more. There's a lot of days where um, you just feel tired or you burnt out. Like one of the things I'll tell you about in acting, I'm sure some of the people who might be listening to this or that you've interviewed will tell you is that you can burn out quickly with this because it takes a lot of your energy. And there's a lot of days where you're just like, oh, I just want to go away to Hawaii for a week, just lie on the beach and just chill out. But it's actually those days that yeah, when you push through and you do it and you get on with it, you look back and you go, I'm really proud that I did that. It's like have you ever seen you've seen Rocky Balboa, the movie?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Rocky Balboa 5, I think it is, where he talks to his son. It's one of the greatest speeches of all time. Like if you ever want a good motivational speech, go listen to that. And he says, he says to the his son, life isn't rainbows and daisies or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
He
yeah.
goes, it's not how hard you can hit, it's how hard you can get here and keep moving forward. And it's so true. All my brother pulled me up about that years ago, and he said that to me, and I always think about that whenever I'm just like, oh, I can't be bothered. Um, and it's just about getting on. It's like one of my favorite tunes by Oasis, "Cigarettes and Alcohol." The very ending lyrics are, "You've got to make it happen." And I think it's just one of those things that when you just can't be asked and you just want to give up, you just got to keep going. And actually the most important times is pulling through when you just don't want to do it. Um, but and you look back and you should be proud of yourself and be like, yeah, I still did it, even though I went through a really tough time or whatever. Um, That's what it's all about. Life is all about just kicking backside, even when you don't want to do it, and just keep going. That's it. So yeah, there's loads of days in acting. Trust me, there's loads of actors that will tell you that they're burnt out and they don't want to do it anymore. But you just got to keep plugging away, and then of course there's those days when you do want to do it, and it's amazing. But not every day's like that. So
Mm.
yeah,
I mean, at the end, it just it's just the way it is. You know what I mean? I think also that it's okay for you to have those feelings. If you have those kind of burnout feelings, sure, take a day off. Take a day off, take a break. Do something totally different because in those moments, actually, you might get re-inspired to do whatever you are pursuing in life, and it's important to take care of your of your mental being, of your emotional everything, basically. I do think that I do blame media sometimes that because of this idea that you need to,
go go
go,
go go.
beast mode and you're gonna sleep when you die, things like that. I mean, at least to me, I have discovered that when I go to the gym, sure that works. For sure that works. Like go in with that mentality, sure. But in life, you can't proceed like that because eventually you're gonna get tired. I have said this before that, for example, when I started chat with Dan, there was a point in which I was like the first 6 months I was having 6, 7 interviews daily, not gonna lie. And there was one day in which I had like 13 in one day. And what ended up happening is after 6 months I was tired.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
you know what, I can't do this anymore. And not because I don't like it, but because my body demands rest. You know what I mean? I love it, but I just can't. And it's on moments like that when you start to discover like it's okay for you to, for you to be tired and take a day off if it's necessary, get relax, get your things together, regroup, and then go back. Otherwise, you're not gonna be able to make it, and at the end, if you look tired and if you're gonna hate it at some point, let's be honest. So I do think that it's important for to have those days, embrace them, sure, but get back up and continue moving forward. So
well, it's like, I mean, the other thing is like with acting, there's two things. First of all, it's going to jeopardize your work. If you're just if you're constantly overbooking yourself, and you're not able to put in as much preparation to a role that you want to, it's going to catch up with you eventually. And then the other thing is like, say, even if you haven't overbooked yourself, but you're exhausted, just use that energy. Doesn't matter what the scene is. Like, even if you have to be upbeat and stuff, you can use that energy to bring something to the scene. There's been days where I haven't slept in like 2 days, had to go and film something, and I'm exhausted. And honestly, sometimes it can be some of the best work I've done, and it's probably because mentally I'm so tired I don't care. You know what I mean? You get so exhausted that you're just like, oh, I just want to go home. But it can sometimes draw something that you would never have done before, and it can actually be more authentic as a result. So there's always pros and cons to that. And so yeah, for me, like you said, it is one of these things where maybe sometimes like life, you got to slow down. Like the day's going too fast for a lot of people, and you just got to slow it down and just be present, enjoy it.
totally. And if you need a day to don't do absolutely nothing and
Yeah,
just stay, yeah, take it, sure, embrace it at the same time. As we were saying before, I do think that the importance here is to enjoy things. As we were saying, life is too short, and what better way to make sure that that as long as you're still alive, you are enjoying it as much as you can, or just doing something you appreciate, or something that actually kind of makes you happy about it, and at the same time, you need those days to relax a little bit so you can continue moving forward. I mean, we're not machines at the end of the day, so
that's true.
totally, totally. And my last question here, so we can all enjoy and relax after an epic chat here. So here it is.
Mhm.
What do you think that could be the best title for this episode?
Definitely, maybe. I'm gonna
Definitely,
go.
maybe.
Yeah, you were on about the idea of auditioning, rejection, all the rest of it. You never know. You just got to put yourself out there, and there's always a definitely maybe out there, and that's how you should just do it. You're not entitled to anything. Just enjoy life, and you never know. Just put yourself out there. If you put yourself out there, something
Okay,
eventually is going to happen. So definitely maybe.
I like it. And I mean, at the end, what can I say, man? The fact that you're doing it, the fact that you're making it happen, I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, we all know that following your passion or doing something that actually makes you happy might get, it might be a pain in the butt sometimes, but hey, you are doing it, you are showing up, you're doing the hard work. That's incredible. I think, I mean, what I love the most about, chatting with actors, models, musicians, directors, writers, whatever, is that at the end of the day, sure, besides giving us cool things to watch, cool content, cool music, cool whatever, you're also showing us between the lines that everything is possible. And I think that is that's super amazing and super important, especially these days, since people is just crazier than ever. The fact that we can relate somehow on people like you who are showing us that you can make that happen. If you have a dream, you can make it, but you need to put like a lot of hard work to it. That's incredible. So
yeah, thank you.
Totally. I do want to thank also those who stayed the whole episode. Let us know what you think in the comments below. By this point, because by this point you should know why Cameron, he's such a badass guy. So let's follow him. Let's share some love. # Team Cameron. And again, man, thank you for making this happen. Keep shining out there. Keep rocking. Have an incredible upcoming Christmas, New Year. I'm super sure that 2025 is going to be an incredible year for you. And I'll be seeing you in the next one.
Yeah, you too, Dan. Thanks for having me. And it's a great podcast. So thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's very kind of you.
All right.